श्रीयाद्वैधव गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्दा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल निताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल Hare Krishna. Welcome to this session on the Bhagavad Gita. So it's so glorious that we are starting the most wonderful Bhagavad Gita, which is the transcendental sound vibration which came out of the Supreme Lord's mouth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself is speaking most of the portions of this Bhagavad Gita. Of course, there are other persons who are involved, but here we see that Supreme Lord Krishna Himself is speaking. Okay, so the first chapter is called Observing the Armies on the Battlefield. So we'll quickly see the summary, what is there in this, and then we'll start reading. So chapter 1, if you see the sloka, it totally have 46 verses. So from sloka 1 to 11, we have the first, the Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya, his secretary, what is happening in the war field. So there is only one sloka where Dhritarashtra speaks. After that, Sanjaya starts explaining. So the entire Bhagavad Gita is like the conversation between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. So Sanjaya is nobody but the secretary of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra was the king who had taken over the kingdom from Panchapandavas. The thing is, there were two brothers, um, Pandu and Dhritarashtra. So even though Dhritarashtra was elder, according to Shastra, a blind person cannot be a king. Dhritarashtra was blind, born blind. So because Dhritarashtra was blind, then the Pandu is supposed to rule. This is according to the Shastra. So the Pandu, in between, he will go to forest, and due to some reason, Pandu will die. So before that, all these five children were brought by prayers to the demigods, by himself, and three children by Kunti, and one more wife he had, and two children, totally five children. And then Pandu will die. So when the mother Kunti with and the second wife will get into the fire when the after the death of her husband. So all the five children were entrusted to one widow mother. Okay, so Kunti is the mother. So with the along with the children, when she returns back from the forest, so there is grandfather Bhishma. So he's also a wonderful devotee. Kunti is a wonderful devotee. But this Dhritarashtra and his 100 sons are not devotees. They are non-devotees. This is the scenario. So when she comes back with her children and asks for the kingdom or to just be a part of the, she doesn't claim for the kingdom because when the elder is there and the Dhritarashtra is sitting in the throne, temporarily he was placed for some time, and he just held to the seat. And he wanted to pass the kingdom to his son. But the son is atheistic in nature, and all the 100 children are atheistic in nature. But they had many life-threatening situations, Kunti and her sons. So they decided to, Kunti decided to live in hiding. So they were living in hiding, and later they came back. And it's a Mahabharata is a big story. Maybe sometime we can see it in short. So it's not very important. Prabhupada, two, three purports in Srimad Bhagavata mentions that it is not essential to know the details of Mahabharata. The reason being, it is not transcendental in nature. It is a family politics. But of course, the transcendental portion is all highlighted in Srimad Bhagavatam, and whichever portion Panchavandavas were pure devotees, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is coming, and their interaction is very transcendental and very sweet. But otherwise, it's a family politics. So generally, we are not some imaginary stories and all are given in movies and all that. But this is not, or in novels and all, to make it interesting. But here, it's a real story, real history. It's not story. It's a real history. But even in the history, we are not interested if Supreme Personality of God is not involved. So in most of the portions in Mahabharata, it is only the emotional family politics. So we are not interested in Mahabharata. Very clearly, Prabhupada said that a devotee will not be interested in Mahabharata. But the Jews, the very essential portion of who am I, what am I to do, and to be relevant to my life is more important than to know some story of somebody. That hundreds and thousands of movies are released to go and check out somebody's movie. Some people say that, oh, this is real world incident. This person actually lived, and his life only we are depicting. So there may be some autobiographies, some biographies, and maybe but thousands and millions of people lived in this earth and died. And we are not here to analyze everybody's life and get entertained. So what am I to do before I die is a primary question. And the portion which answers that is considered very prominent. So this is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna in the war field. So Krishna also becomes a relative, like Kunti. Kunti's brother is um, Vasudev. Sorry, yeah, Vasudev, because Kunti was adopted daughter. So she was born in another family where Vasudev was her brother. So in this way, Kunti's brother was Vasudev. Vasudev's son was Krishna. Very simple, brother and sister. Kunti is the sister, and brother is Vasudev. The Vasudev. Vasudev's son is also called Vasudev, like Kunti's son is called Kaunteya. In this way, Dhritarashtra's sons are called Dardharashtra, like that. So that is the Sanskrit. So this Vasudeva Krishna. The Krishna is the son of Vasudeva. So this Vasudeva and Kunti are brother and sister. Now Krishna is the son of Vasudeva, whereas Kunti had 5 children and she was a widow roaming in the forest and all that. Later she came back to the kingdom also. Continuously there was life-threatening situations, and of course they gave a lot of, when there is politics and property involved, of course one has to face lot of difficulties. So, but she tolerated through that and didn't shake her faith on Krishna. That is very important. She was a very dedicated devotee, due to which she had constant help of Krishna coming through. So this is the scenario, basic scenario. But here, if you see that now this man is blind, at last it ends up that the fight becomes so prominent that at last the Pancha-Pandavas, they decide, because they have been put into such a difficulty, that at the end there's no other go, that Krishna also went and asked, give them some property. First they gave 50% of the property, even that 50% he snatched away. He's not, Duryodhana was not, Duryodhana is the eldest son of the Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is the blind king, okay? Dhritarashtra is the blind king. The younger brother of Dhritarashtra is Pandu. Pandu's wife is Kunti, and they had 5 children. And then Dhritarashtra had 100 children. 100 children are atheistic. Dhritarashtra is atheistic. Kunti is a devotee. Pancha-Pandavas are devotees. Kunti's brother is Vasudev, and Vasudev's son is Krishna. Of course, another daughter, Subhadra, was there. So that Subhadra was married to Arjuna. Like that. Later we will see what this Pancha-Pandavas' name are: Yudhishthira, Bhima, then Arjuna, then Nakula, Sahadeva, like this. So now, having that in mind, now Dhritarashtra is the blind king who is sitting in the throne, and this guy, he wanted to know what is going on. War was declared, and the last what happens is, even though Krishna came as a messenger, bringing peace message, asking for 5, at least small kingdoms, they refused. Okay, they were refused, and again he asked 5 villages, refused. 5 houses, refused. Give them, because once 5 houses they get, they will expand. They are Kshatriyas, they are very smart. So Duryodhana doesn't want them to come up in any way. He's very particular that they should never come out. This is a symptom of enviousness. He got his kingdom if he gives 5 houses, and if they develop it into something, that is up to them. They are very righteous people, and they are not going to snatch away their Duryodhana's kingdom. But still, he not only wanted to be a king, but he also wanted to smash and finish these devotees. So that is the place where Krishna will intervene. So Krishna is called Bhaktavatsala. He's very affectionate to the devotees. He will never let the devotee perish. So Krishna assures also that in the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna agreed to become the chariot driver of Arjuna, and he told that either you can, both the sides demanded his support. Duryodhana also asked Krishna to support him. Arjuna also asked Krishna to support. So Krishna said that he gave an option that either my army will come. He has an army. It's considered the world's most powerful army, Narayani Sena, and he himself was there. So he asked, you can choose between me and the Sena. So the Duryodhana, he said only, and Krishna also said that I won't fight in the war. So because Krishna said he won't fight in the war, and so Duryodhana felt that's an unused resource. Is very expert in management and politics and diplomacy, very intelligent. So no sentiments, very clear, very focused in what he wants. And then he said, no, I prefer the Sena, Narayani Sena. He was so happy. Arjuna was the first one to pick, and he picked only Krishna. Just be with me, with us, Krishna. Even if you don't fight, it's okay, but we want you on our side. So because Krishna came into Pancha-Pandava's side, it became very auspicious, and devotee always wants Krishna, not his opulence. This entire material world, the spiritual world, everything is Krishna's creation, Krishna's property. So a devotee will never want neither bhukti nor mukti, it is said. Bhukti means enjoying in this material world various senses, sense enjoyment in this world. Like demigods and all, they are being a devotee at the same time, they are enjoying so much. But so pure devotee will not aspire for material desire, but spiritually also, he won't desire to enjoy the opulence of Krishna. Oh, I want to go to Goloka so that I can enjoy. In this world is full of suffering. I need to work for money, and then money get, and then only I can eat. But then Goloka is very nice, so I can go there like that. So there is no personal interest for them. They really love Krishna and they want to be with Krishna and serve Krishna. This is their only intention, and they don't have any other intention of even yielding anything from Krishna, despite Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, when people come to know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, what prayer can I do? What can I ask from him? So this yielding mentality is always there. How can I exploit something? If I get a good friend who's millionaire, why can't he be simply a friend? Why do you need to think he's a millionaire today? What will I ask tomorrow? What will I ask? So that is contamination in the relationship. Just be a friend. That's it. That is pure devotional service. Very simple to understand. No yielding is expected out of the relationship. Just only love and affection is shared, and nothing is expected. It's very, very top class. So such dealings with the Supreme Lord is very much appreciated, and Panchapandavas were like that. They were not much, they were not at all interested in anything which Krishna possesses. Supreme Lord, he'll possess so many things. Why should I say that give me some share out of it? If I have to suffer out of my karma, let me suffer, no problem. Like that, very top class. So that is why Krishna came, said that I won't fight, but I can become a chariot driver. I'm only a supporter. So in this way, he chose Arjuna's chariot to be a driver. Then Panchapandavas also came into the war field, and then now Duryodhana also, the 100 brothers are also come. But that blind man who's sitting in the Hastinapura palace wanted to see what is going on in this war field. The war is happening in a place called Kurukshetra. So it's considered a very holy place, and that so he wanted to see. So Vyasadev didn't give this opportunity of seeing to Dhritarashtra because he was a non-devotee. So Dhritarashtra had an assistant. His name is Sanjaya. He's a very, very amazing personality, a very good devotee. So Vyasadev gave the vision to Sanjaya that sitting in the palace, he'll be able to see, like it's not a big thing. Just by some mantra, it is possible. Like we have a live relay in when some cricket match or something is happening in another place. We get the live relay of whatever is live going on. Now Guru Maharaj taking class, we are seeing live immediately. So this is media. Same way there are other mediums also. So these mediums are used. So he was able to see, what other person is thinking, other person is speaking. Everything very powerful transmission was given to Sanjaya. So Sanjaya is sitting next to the Dhritarashtra in the palace. And then he is describing what is going on in the warfield. Okay. So this is the overall scenario. So that is why this first chapter is called Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. So here the first Dhritarashtra is asking, Sanjaya, what is happening? And then Sanjaya starts speaking, saying that Duryodhana is going to his spiritual master, Dronacharya, and he is describing the entire army. There is no description about what is happening on the other side as of now. And then that is 10 to 11 slokas. And from 12 to 19 sloka, prominent people, they blew the conch shell. It's a symptom that it's going to start, the war is going to start. And 20 to 27, Arjuna observes the army. So Arjuna, then later, see the vision, we are going to have two contradictory visions. How a non-devotee sees a scenario and how a devotee observes the scenario. But devotee may be in confusion, so he may blabber something. Devotee can undergo confusion. There is nothing wrong. But Krishna is always there to enlighten him. So this is the scenario. So here, Duryodhana describes both armies blowing of conch, and then 20 to 27 is Arjuna is observing the army. And then Arjuna becomes very confused and he is giving many reasons that I won't fight. This is how the first chapter ends. Okay. Okay. Having said this, let us go into reading of the book. So we are dividing it into 4 sections. Observing the armies in the battlefield of Kurukshetra is the first chapter. First 11 slokas are Duryodhana describing the army, and 12 to 19 is blowing of conch shell, and 20 to 27 is Arjuna is observing the army, and 28 to 46 continuously is Arjuna is confusion of Arjuna, then dilemma, and then his reason for not fighting. So this is what. We'll come back to this once we finish certain aspects. Okay. We are reading the first sloka. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 1, Text 1. Only Sanskrit you can repeat after me. After that, you can start reading the translation and purport. Okay. Okay, all of you unmute. You can repeat after me. Dhritarashtra Uvacha
Dhritarashtra
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre
Dharmakshetre
Kurukshetre
Samavetaयुत्सवः
Samaveta-yutsavah
मामका पाण्डवश्चैव
Mamaka Pandavaschaiva
किमकुर्वत सञ्जय.
Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Start reading.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Purport. Bhagavad Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is the perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, as described in the Mahabharata, form the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. The word Dharmakshetre, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brother Pandu were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield, because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven. Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of. Uh, can you scroll, Mataji? About the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so, Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield. Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out, so it is expected fr- from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharmakshetre and Kurukshetre, apart from their historical and Vedic importance.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so Omagyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayati Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमो आचार्यपादाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकदादामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, so here there are certain aspects which has to be understood. You see, there are here Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre. So Kurukshetra is the place the war is happening, and it is mentioned here that is the Dharma Kshetra. That is means it was not a war field; it was a place of pilgrimage. Later, this place was converted because the whole world was fighting. Prabhupada is telling half of the world was fighting with another half of the world, not the public, but the military. So it was world war, one of the biggest world war. So so they wanted a place of assembling there. So they found this holy place was very big. So they chose that place. So this Kurukshetra, that is said to be Dharma Kshetra because it is a place of pilgrimage that was chosen. So what is the specific of this? If it's a place of pilgrimage, it's a good place, it will always favor the righteous people. So this is one fear of Dhritarashtra that Prabhupada is mentioning. First, he also tells about the glory of the Dharma Kshetra. He also tells about the fear of Dhritarashtra. And Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. So he's asking a question, Kim Akurvata Sanjaya? What did they do? Kim Akurvata Sanjaya means Kuruva means activity. They are what are they doing? So Kim means what? Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. He's asking. Who is doing what? He's asking two people assembled to fight. Samaveda Yutsava means they have assembled to fight. They didn't have any other reason. They assembled for fighting only. So he specifically mentioned fighting because sometime there may be peace treaty or something which he didn't want to happen. He wanted the entire kingdom for only his sons. So Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva, my people and Pandava. This is Prabhupada again is pointing out this portion that my people, he doesn't consider Pandava as his people. He's considering them as enemies or third persons like that. So when the father dies, the small children came back to the kingdom. Generally speaking, a king is the father of the entire kingdom. But at least this children, who is brother's children, who has come without a father, should be treated as children, his own son. But the son, he didn't treat them as his own sons. So Mamaka very clearly shows that he is my people. Like that, he is mentioning only his sons. And Pandava, he is treating other people, other than my people, means opposite of whatever it is. So these are all some aspects from the verse. Otherwise, Prabhupada is initially starting the authenticity of Bhagavad Gita. So very important to understand what is theistic science. So if you see here, before going into that, the translation is, Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? So even though the translation, Prabhupada very recently gives, after my sons and the sons of Pandu, but Mamukar can be taken my people, also my sons. So assembled in the place of pilgrimage of Kurukshetra. So Kurukshetra is the place of pilgrimage. So, and they are desiring to fight. Samaveda Yuyutsavaha. So that is what. So what did they do? Kimakurvada. What did they do? Like that is that. So Bhagavad Gita, so Prabhupada starts the purport by saying that Bhagavad Gita is a very widely read theistic science. So what is theistism? Atheist means a person who doesn't believe in God. Theist means one who believes in God. So the science, it's a big science. Once you know, okay, I believe in, see, when somebody says, I don't believe in God, study of science comes to a full stop there. He's not no more interested in any more topic because there is nothing more to discuss. Because it doesn't exist. How somebody will give a lecture on that doesn't exist? No, nobody will do it. But theistic science, as soon as you say, yes, God is there, then what is he? Where is he? What are all his qualities? What is his name? Many things. Why did he create this world? Who am I to him? Like this. So many thousands of questions come up. And that science, which deals with the God, is called theistic science. Atheist means not believer of God. Theist means one who believes in God. So the God itself is a science. Summarized in Gita Mahatmya, this Bhagavad Gita is a theistic science. And it is summarized in Gita Mahatmya. It says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretation. Very simple and casual. Like, for example, if you're reading a novel, you won't have your own personal interpretation. You just read it and you just understand it, simple and straightforward. So, this is important. The example is of clear understanding is there in Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard Gita directly from the Lord. So, then how it is possible? There is no Krishna in front of my eyes. Okay, then we have not only then, but more important, more authentic method of receiving Krishna or knowledge of theistic science or whatever is to hear from authorized line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, that he surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures in the world. So when we come in the disciplic succession, when we are hearing, it's very, very powerful. Sometimes people ask that sometimes when Guru Maharaj speaks, we cannot understand, or when Guru Maharaj speaking in English, I don't know English language, like that. So this transcendental sound vibration is beyond that. Of course, understanding is important. So Guru Maharaj keeps translators so that people also understand, because they need to take classes and preach. We are not just making you, giving you a visa to go to Golaka. So missionary work of preaching or spreading is very mandatory. So one will find Bhagavad Gita. So if someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in disciplic succession, so how does the disciplic succession present Bhagavad Gita is the question. Okay, how does the disciplic succession present the Bhagavad Gita? First, it won't be motivated without motivated interpretations. So first of all, they won't even have a specific motive. And in case as Mahaprashadam, so there is no specific motivation for in translating. Sorry, in between I blabbered something because I'm closed my ears. So there is without interpretation. This is first qualification. Second is there is no specific motivation for them. Second is there is no interpretation. They come in the line of disciplic succession. This is very, very important. Okay. Then he surpasses all studies of Vedic system. If somebody hears it in this three way, that without any personal motivation, without any interpretation, and learn it from the disciplic succession. The disciplic succession will always present it as it is. Then he has already surpassed the Vedic wisdom and all scriptures in the world. So this is again a glorification of Bhagavad Gita we are seeing. One will find that Bhagavad Gita, all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. But no other place you can find certain information. Those informations are there in Bhagavad Gita. So that is the specific standard of the Gita. It is perfect theistic science because it's directly present. So how do I say it is theistic? Because Supreme Lord himself is speaking, then it's more than theistic. So that is how it is a theistic literature, means believing in God. So here it is mentioned that Sanjay is describing the details of what is going on in the Mahabharata war field. In the war field of Kurukshetra, battlefield of Kurukshetra. So it's a sacred pilgrimage place from time memorial till the Vedic age, time of Vedic age. Now also it's their holy place. It was spoken by Lord when he was present personally on this planet with the guidance on this planet for the guidance of the mankind. So this is described by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra in the palace. By the potency he got, he is a very sincere servant of Vyasadeva, Sanjaya. So he was able to see and he was able to describe. So here, the word Dharmakshetra is very important. So Dharmakshetra means where a place where religious rituals are performed. And so Supreme Lord was also present. So point number one, these are all some of the signs of victory for the Pandavas. First is, it's a place of pilgrimage. It's a very positive vibration place. Second, the Supreme Lord is present next to Arjuna. See, these are all auspicious symptoms. First, the place where the war is happening itself is Dharmakshetra. Second, the original Supreme Person of Godhead is just accompanying Arjuna. So, in this way, certain aspects of signs of victory we can see. Dhritarashtra and fathers of Kurus were highly doubtful about the possibility of his son. So, ultimate victory. In this doubt, he asked, what did they do? Means Dhritarashtra didn't want Duryodhana to settle up for a peace treaty. He said that with great difficulty I have acquired this and everything should be acquired only by my son. Sorry, what did I do? Yeah. So he was confident both his sons and younger were assembled in the warfield of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of a war. Like sometimes people call and ask, what are you doing or something like that, seeing you. Maybe you're stitching some cloth and people are asking, what are you doing? Then I say, I'm eating. Huh? See here, I'm stitching. So it's just visible in front of the eyes. Same way, it's so visible that everybody assembled in the war field only for fighting. Why will they assemble in the war field? For eating, huh? It's for fighting. Prabhupada is asking this in one of the lecture. So it's so clear, then still he is asking the question, what did they do? Desiring to fight, they went there, what did they do? Because he felt that they may change the mind and they may come into an amicable situation, which actually Dhritarashtra didn't want. He's very attached to his sons and he wants the sons to take over the entire kingdom. So still his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure the fate of his sons on the battlefield. So he really, really wanted the war. So he didn't want any compromise between both the teams. Because if there is a compromise, then they need to part with some portion of the kingdom or whatever. They don't want to really give to the Panchapandavas. So because the battle was arranged and fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven, Dhritarashtra became fearful about the influence of the holy place. So holy place will always favor good persons, especially devotees. So that is why he was scared. And he knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably. Because by nature, they were all virtuous. They really had good qualities. So surely that place, pilgrimage will bless them. So they'll be successful. So that one fear is there in him. So Sanjay was the student of Vyasadev. Therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjay was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was on the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation in the battlefield. So Dhritarashtra is sitting and is asking the question. Both the Pandavas and sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. They both are brothers. So, according to scripture, if a brother dies, all the children of the brother also, uh, we say that father's elder brother is also elder papa, elder father. Younger brother is younger father. Like this, the Indian tradition we call. This proves that when nobody is there, these children should have been given shelter and treated by them as his own children. But Dhritarashtra failed to do so. So Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed here. He deliberately claimed that only his sons and as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. Mamuka Pandavas Chaiva. He didn't say that there is Rashtra people or whatever, Duryodhana and friends or brothers. Instead, he said that Mamuka, my people, my people. Huh? So one can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the son of Pandu. So here, the unnecessary plans or how it's taken out in a war field, in a cultivation field. Now, when they cultivate rice or something, there is some other plants will come and grow in between. Okay, why can't you let them live? What they will do is, whenever water is coming, they will absorb more water than the normal plants, and then they will see to that the other plant is drying. Not only that, I have to be nourished. So each of the plant will have a desire to be nourished. But it is not that the other plant should not get. But if you see here, this plant will absorb every water, and the weeds will absorb more water, and then the original plant will not get the water. So what people expert agriculture people, what they do is they get inside the paddy field and then remove the unnecessary plants. That's as once in a while they do this. So same way here, there is unnecessary plants and they have to be removed. So it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra, son of Duryodhana and others, Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana and others will be wiped out thoroughly, uh, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira will be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the word Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, apart from their historical and Vedic importance. Okay, so here Prabhupada tells certain examples here that people say that the Panchapandavas were there, our senses, our intelligence, and the horses and all are our mind, intelligence, ego, and all that 5 elements. Like this, they give misinterpretation and they say that Bhagavad Gita doesn't exist like that. It's very dangerous to bring negate, very authorized scripture. Second is very clear that we need And the thoroughly religious person headed by Yudhishthira would be established as Lord. So Krishna always wants his devotees to be established as kings so that all the citizens of the kingdom will practice devotional service. Unless the king is not righteous, then the kingdom will get doomed. So Krishna wanted only Yudhishthira to become king. Yudhishthira is the eldermost son. He is also called Dharma. He is the son of Yama. Like every demigod was worshipped when these five children were begotten. So when when Yamaraj is worshipped, that time, full of righteous quality, Yudhishthira Maharaj appeared. So the thoroughly religious persons, they had all the favor here. They will win. Okay. So some people say that Kurukshetra, such place doesn't exist. It's an imaginary, it is our mind, this, that and all. No, originally a place called Kurukshetra is there. There is nothing imaginary. And it's a practical live event. It is a history. Never should think that Mahabharata is a fictitious story like we have fairy tales, Snow White and this and that and Mickey Mouse and so many nonsense stories are coming. And they are all imaginary. So we should never ever imagine take this to be imaginary. It is original. It is a historical event. So there are importance here, historical and Vedic importance, both for the place and also for the scripture. It's a true place, true event. So this has to be understood from the first sloka. In other Mayavadi interpreted meanings and all, if you see any of the book, they will interpret and tell so many stories about the Kurukshetra is the mind, or they say that it's all imaginary. There is nobody called Panchapandava exists. It talks about Parabrahman and Brahman, how they have to talk with each other and ask question. You have to introspect and ask. Full speculation means speculation. So it's very, very simple. We see the cover of Bhagavad Gita, we see Krishna and Arjuna, and it's a war, and it's a chariot, and Krishna is there, and Arjuna is there, and the Duryodhana is in also the warfield on the opposite side, and then other people are there, we'll see. Then in the palace, Dhritarashtra is there, Sanjaya is there, Sanjaya is giving the live commentary. Okay. Any questions in the first sloka?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, so my question is that why the Bhagavad Gita is starting from Dhritarashtra? Yeah. Yes.
Bhagavad Gita is not starting from, Bhagavad Gita is not a separate book. It is part of Mahabharata. So Mahabharata is a very large book. So Vyasadeva wanted to take this portion where the warfield scenario starts. Point number one. So Bhagavad Gita is a portion of Mahabharata. Point number one. So it's a continuation. And Vyasadeva chose this portion onwards. Point number one. Point number two is we should understand that somebody may even question how who went and watched the warfield, whose warfield. Many things are happening. Yudhishthira is fighting in some other place, and Arjuna is fighting in some other place, and all this confusion we may come. So if you take a cricket field, the live relay is happening with some cameras there. There are many cameras, and it also will show the scoreboard and everything. At the simultaneously, it will show many areas of the field. So same way, because Sanjay was given this Divya Drishti, he was able to describe whatever is happening in the war field. So we should understand that Dhritarashtra is questioning and Sanjaya starts answering, and Sanjaya is a sincere disciple of Vyasadeva. So he is the main person who is describing. This is a very important fact which we need to know. So this may also be another reason. But this portion Vyasadeva chose. Like surrounding scenario. So with the surrounding scenario, he gets inside the gist. So the observing of what a battlefield is done by Sanjaya, and that is spoken by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. So truth is truth. We can ask why Hiranyakashipu is mentioned in Bhagavatam. He is atheist. It doesn't mean that no, only Krishna will be spoken. The scenarios will be spoken as they are. If it's a history, it's a history. We won't manipulate the history just because to bring Krishna consciousness or transcendence. We won't manipulate the history. It is truth as it is. So, of course, Dhritarashtra asked, of course, Sanjaya answered. And this vision was purposely given by Vyasadeva so that the king is considered to be very primary person, is the pivot of the kingdom. So Vyasadeva gave that he is not going to the war field, but he was emotionally very connected. So he really wanted to know. And it's very important, rightful activity for a king to know what is going on in his kingdom. King is blind man, he didn't go to the war, doesn't mean that he need not know what is going on in the war field. So nobody expected that suddenly Krishna spoke to Arjuna there. They all assembled there only for the war, no? So he was interested only in the war. And war is supposed to happen. And quickly 45 minutes conversation happened. Very short conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. In 45 minutes, the entire Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So this was unexpected, sudden turning point, which was recorded by Vyasadeva, but the vision was given by Sanjaya. And there were many assembled people around Dhritarashtra also sitting there who never went into the war field. You stayed back in the palace. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. This one sloka will read. Unmute, all of you. Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha
Drishtva tu Pandavanīkam.
दृष्ट्वा पाण्डवानीकम्
Yudam Duryodhanastata.
तथा
Acharyam Upasangamya.
आचार्यम् उपसङ्गम्य
Raja Vachanam Abravit.
राजा वचनम् अब्रवीत्
Somebody read the translation and purport.
Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Purport. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjaya could understand his motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield. Sanjaya wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son, Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief, Dronacharya, to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician. But Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas.
So here the Sanjaya starts speaking. Sanjaya starts speaking. He says that he's able to see, so he's just describing what is going on in the war field. O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation, so he's just overseeing. And the Duryodhana is overseeing the entire military formation as a warrior. So the Pandu's sons have arranged. He never expected this because he didn't give any support to them. Yet nobody in the world, most of them were supporting only the Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra because they were the ruling party. Whenever there is a ruling party, most of the supporters support that. So, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, but they were able, due to their righteousness, good kings were all with Pandu's sons. It's a very, compared to the army of Duryodhana, this army was quite small, but very nicely arranged, and wonderful, powerful kings were also there. In both sides, they were good kings, powerful kings. So King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Prabhupada, in one of the lecture, he mentions that how it said as Raja Vachanam Abravit is because Dhritarashtra was blind, he was just sitting in the throne and he is very attached to his elder son. But most of the command and control was under Duryodhana and he was keep on giving advices. So here it is mentioned as Raja Vachanam Abravit because he keeps commanding, he keeps giving directions and doing things, and the Dhritarashtra will not oppose it like that. So he went to his teacher, not only his teacher, the Dronacharya is the teacher of Panchapandavas also, and also Duryodhana and his brothers, 100 children, all of them studied under Dronacharya. So he went to his teacher Dronacharya and he started speaking after seeing the army. So first of all, Dhritarashtra was here, it is mentioned Sanjaya spoke. So here Prabhupada is explaining why it is Sanjaya speaking. Because Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also all of bit of spiritual vision also. He's blind both materially and spiritually. So he knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion. So, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious by birth. So Pandavas were very good people, and they were pious, and they were theist. The Duryodhana was atheist. So he was not, he's very blind. The son also, father, both are blind. But he had a doubt. So my son will never compromise, he's so strong. But he had a doubt, this Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, maybe it has changed the mind. And maybe they come to the amicable situation. Maybe the war didn't happen. Maybe they come back. So still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage. And Sanjaya could understand this motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield. So Sanjaya knows why Dhritarashtra is asking this question. Mamuka Pandavas, why will they assemble in the war field to entertain themselves or what? Is there a mela going on? People will assemble in the war field to fight war. That's also simple and straightforward. So what did they do? What did they do? Because maybe they came back. They said that, okay, they came to amicable situation. That he didn't want actually. So he, understanding this intention of the master, then Sanjaya specifically wanted to tell, therefore to encourage the king, who was very despondent, and assured him that his son was not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Don't worry, your son will not be influenced by the holy place because you're atheist. He's an atheist. How will the holy place shower the mercy? So there's no possibility. So don't worry, your son is fighting only, don't worry. So Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief Duryodhana. Sorry, Dronacharya. So the Dronacharya was placed as the commander-in-chief of Duryodhana's party, and he went and informed the real position. So he's going to continue, he's going to start now. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. Somebody is appointed as a king, that Prabhupada is telling, just because a mosquito is going and sitting on the throne doesn't mean that it has become a king. Same way, even for winning, he required the help of Dronacharya, he required the help of Bhishma, great stalwarts, and the commander. He has to go and speak to the commander. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician. He was a politician, see. So, but Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement. He never expected Pandavas can assemble such a big army. He never expected, and it happened. So he tried to avoid showing it and show chivalry and go in front of others as he is a very strong man and all, even though he meant like that. But the fear, he tried to avoid the fear being shown outside. But actually, he was fearful seeing the military arrangement of the Pandavas. So this is what it is. Any questions on the second verse? Okay, it's a small purport. Maybe we can read it. Mostly self-understandable. So attentively listen so that I don't explain much. Okay, third verse, Bhagavad Gita 1.3. Please repeat, unmute. Pashyaitam Panduputranam
Pashetam Panduputranam
Acharya Mahatim Chamom
Acharya
Mahatem
Mahatem Chamon
Yudam Drupata Putrena
Vyudam
Drupadraputrena
Tavasishyena Dhimata.
Tavashisyena
Tavashisyena
Dhimata.
Dhimata.
So I'll read the translation. Translation. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupata. So this, can somebody read the purport?
Duryodhan, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great Brahmana, commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupada, the father of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupada performed a great sacrifice, by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet, as a liberal Brahmana, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets when the son of Drupada, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of the Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for the military phalanx. After having learned the art from Dronacharya, Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya's so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who are also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna, especially, was his most affectionate and the brilliant student. Duryodhana also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat.
So here he goes to the teacher and see how he is speaking. First itself an arrow comes. It's very sharp tongue this guy is. So you can see very clearly the character of Duryodhana starting. So first Dhritarashtra asked, then Sanjaya starts speaking. And while Sanjaya starts speaking, he said, totally it's the conversation of Sanjaya only. But in between that, now what Duryodhana is speaking, after that Krishna Arjuna, Krishna Arjuna, Krishna Arjuna. Last, again Sanjaya will speak and conclude. That is how it is, Bhagavad Gita is. In 18th chapter, again Sanjaya will speak. So here, totally 18 chapters. So in the first chapter, he is speaking now. It starts like that. Then first Duryodhana, after that only Krishna Arjuna, Krishna Arjuna. So here, this Duryodhana is coming and he's telling, my dear teacher, he didn't say that, thank you very much for coming and being with me. Nothing. Behold the great army of son of Pandus. Okay, commander-in-chief, very good. The spiritual is a master, Dronacharya, is the commander-in-chief, very good. So they need to speak something about the army. But the first thing what he's pointing out is, behold the great army of son of Pandu. See that? Very nice arrangement of son of Pandu. No, Pandavas have arranged very nicely. So expertly arranged. By whom you know? You are intelligent disciple, the son of Drupata. He said, Your intelligent disciple, son of Drupada. There is very specific meaning of this, where Prabhupada is explaining that Duryodhana is a politician, diplomat. So diplomacy and duplicity may be an exhibition of great intelligence, but it doesn't coincide with attitude of a devotee, especially. So sometimes we may become bewildered. Oh, very intelligent person, very knowledgeable person. But when there is a crookedness in that intelligence, that is not actually very much pleasing to the Supreme Lord. The reason being, the Supreme Lord has his own plan in this world, and that has to get executed. And these people will have their plans getting executed. This is a symptom of lording it over the material nature. So to be a controller, to be a lord of the everything. This is the issue. So here he is expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple son of Drupada. Why he is telling us, who is this Drupada? Now he is speaking to his spiritual master, Dronacharya. Okay, Duryodhana's spiritual master is Dronacharya. He is a Brahmana, very wonderful, expert, good teacher. Panchapandavas and were his disciples also in teaching, and Arjuna was his favorite student. He belongs to the assembly of this Kuru dynasty. Now, this Drupada and Dronacharya were childhood, they were friends. But Drupada was a king, whereas Dronacharya was a Brahmana. The Brahmanas generally train their sons to be another Brahmana or a teacher. But Dronacharya wanted his son to become a king. Dronacharya's son was Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama was a small boy that time. So Drupada and Dronacharya had some issues over each other. They were almost fighting with each other. So Drupada became very angry with Dronacharya. So he wanted to perform a yajna in which he wanted to get a son who will kill Dronacharya. It's a personal problem between them. That is why Prabhupada is asking us not to read so much of Bhagavad, the Mahabharata, because our mind is always interested in materialistic things. So these materialistic aspects we will ponder upon. That is not required for us. Already with great difficulty, we have come out of the too much consciousness, karmic relationship with even our own personal relatives. What to speak of another character who lived a long time back? So we need not ponder. So basics only we are understanding here. So here, Prabhupada is mentioning the great Brahmana commander-in-chief is Dronacharya. Drupada is the father of. So this Drupada, what he did a yajna to bring a son who is capable enough to kill Dronacharya. So from that yajna, two people came out. One is Draupadi, another is Drupada. Now it's so wonderful. See this. So Draupadi also is a reason for Dronacharya to get killed in this war field. And Drupada came out, and Drupada was empowered with the power to kill Dronacharya. He is meant to for that, and the yajna was also meant for that, everything. You know, what did Drupada do? He thought, my son must be very good in archery and all military arts. There is no good teacher than Dronacharya. So he went to Dronacharya and told, see, I brought my son, Drupada. You have to train him in military science. Dronacharya accepted the student. He's a good teacher and a Brahmana. And without hesitation, he didn't think that this boy is born to kill me, so I will not teach him everything. No politics, no diplomacy. Simple, straightforward. He just taught. This is one of the very, very small, simple quality of Brahmana. That is Brahma Jnanati iti Brahmana. Knowing Supreme Personality of Godhead is the primary aspect of the Brahmana symptom. But this is also that without seeing, without any vengeance, he just taught him the military science. Now Drupada is the father of Draupadi, and Drupada and this boy, Draupadi's brother, he also joined. So that is why he is telling, your Drupada's son is on the other side. He is there to kill you only. So first he starts saying, why did you teach everything? You should have hidden some things. Dronacharya, so Duryodhana, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defect of Dronacharya. This is the quality of atheism. Generally, when a teacher teaches something, the disciple should be respectful. Then that knowledge will work. That is how the Vidya works. The person who is conveying the Vidya or the technology, he has to be given enough respect, at least that gratitude basically is expected. Need not announce to everybody, at least have gratitude in the mind or the heart. When somebody doesn't give the credit within themselves, not to the public, oh, he is my teacher, this, no. From within the heart, that respect and that should be there. If that is not there, then it's going to be a problem. So here, Duryodhana directly deployed, first thing he's speaking in the war field, the defect of Dronacharya. He is a great Brahmana and commander-in-chief, very, very elder to him. And what he is speaking. So Dronacharya had some political quarrel with Draupadi, the father of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Draupadi performed a great sacrifice by which he received a benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. So Draupadi got a son who can kill Dronacharya. So Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, yet as a liberal Brahmana, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets with the son of Draupadi, Drishtadyumna. His name is Draupadi's brother's name is Drishtadyumna, and father's name is Draupadi. So then he entrusted him complete military education. Oh, not that, okay, he will kill me, so I won't teach you. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of Pandavas. No. On the other side is that no, it was he who arranged for this military plan, the phalanx, after having learned the art from Dronacharya. Expertly he arranged, after learning nicely from Dronacharya. So Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya so that he might be alert and uncompromising in fighting. Actually, something was always there in the mind of Duryodhana that actually Dronacharya likes the Panchapandava very much, especially Arjuna. He will never harm them. So some soft corner is there. Both Bhishma and Dronacharya, both of them are having soft corner for Panchapandavas. So somehow or other, he want to speak and break that aspect. So by this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in the battle against the Pandavas, who were also. So he don't want him to be lenient in the battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. So because Pandavas were affectionate students, he may be a little lenient, which he doesn't want to happen. Especially Arjuna was the most affectionate and brilliant student. So Duryodhana also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat. So very diplomatically he is speaking, and he is starting with this. Okay, 3 verses we have seen. So tomorrow we will see some more. Okay, any questions? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So as there are no questions, we can wind up here. Let's offer our obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, Acharya Parampara, and all Vaishnava devotees and also assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha patitanam
pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo
Prabhupada
namaha.
ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai,
Jai.
Gaura Prem.